Hope you're having a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. And what I'd like to do is a special edition of the Spatially Challenged Knitter and do a quick review of the inaugural Nash Yarn Fest. I just got back yesterday and it was a great time. We had a great time in Nashville. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, settle in, pick up your knitting, your crochet, whatever project you're working on, and let's get going. Okay, so the inaugural Nash Yarn Fest was put together by MDK, and now it stands for Modern Daily Knitting. I think originally when it was founded, it was Mason-Dixon Knitting, but it's Modern Daily Knitting now, and they're based out of Nashville, Tennessee. And I'd never been to Nashville, always kind of wanted to go and thought it would be fun, and was actually, for the first time, traveling to a yarn event. Mr. Spatially Challenged Knitter, or Mike, went along and was my travel companion for this trip. And I have to say, he was a really, really good sport. We'll get into that a little bit more as we go. But we were able to, we traveled on Thursday. The first event didn't start until Friday at 6 o'clock. We were able to get a non-stop. And so we were able to get in kind of mid-afternoon to Nashville, even though we started at like 7 something in the morning in California. So we had time on Thursday to go walking around and start our sightseeing in Nashville. And then we had Friday during the day to sightsee around Nashville. And we had perfect weather for those 2 days, which was amazing, because the day of the main day of the event was not perfect weather. So it was great to have, nice weather on Thursday and Friday, and especially Friday, because they had people kind of wandering in and out, and they had some food trucks outside for dinner, and it was great to not be in the pouring rain. So anyway, we the first thing I did before I left was they had merchandise that you could pre-order, and their slogan just cracked me up. You can see it on their program here. It's the center of the knitting universe for one day. And so one of their things that you could order was a bag, and I actually pre-ordered the bag and was able to pick it up there when I got to Nashville. So Friday night, Mike and I went to the evening event, the opening night event, the party. And I was able to pick up my bag, which says Nash Yarn Fest, the center of the knitting universe for one day. And it just cracks me up because, like with all the yarn festivals and everything that's going on, it truly is true. It's like your yarn festival happens, everybody's eyes are on you, everybody's podcasting about it, and then it's over and you're on to the next thing. So I thought that was the perfect bag. And it's one of those little canvas zipped ones, and it's gonna come in handy as a project bag and any other kind of bag, but loved it. Loved the theme, the motto, and loved the idea. So Friday night they let us in. We're in Nashville at the fairgrounds, lined up to get in. There's Mike standing in amongst all the ladies, poor guy. Good sport to get into the first night of Nash Yarn Fest. It's the party night, and Arnick and Carlos are going to be speakers. And there is a photographer who's going to do shots of you with your knitting work. So I brought a couple things, and I have a 6:15 appointment. And I did not, for some reason, it didn't even occur to me that with Nashville being known as Music City, and such a strong connection between the city itself and musicians everywhere, and any place you went out to eat, there were musicians playing. All the restaurants, there were clubs, with musicians, and it was astounding to me all during the festival, Friday night and all day Saturday, between speakers, between other things that they were doing. They had live musicians, and it was something that was different than any other festival that I've ever been to before. The music that was playing and the quality of the musicians was amazing. And country music is not really my jam. It's never been my jam. And it was a little country-y on Friday night, but the quality of the musicians that they had performing was outstanding. And some of the singers, especially on Saturday, they were great. So yay to MDK for putting that into their event, and it just kind of making that part of their event was really special, I think, for Nashville. There were about, I think, 90-ish vendors in this gigantic indoor air-conditioned fan place at the fairgrounds in Nashville. And it was a great choice of a venue. They can expand a little bit next year. There was plenty of room, so they can put more people in as it grows. They had a big enough stage to do what they did for the events, and the venue is easy to get in and out of. We took Lyft, so we did ride shares, and it was really, it was clean and pleasant. So like, kudos on picking your venue, because it was a great choice, I think, for the event, and it with plenty of room for them to continue to grow the event and expand the event, and weather permitting, even expand out into, there's like an open courtyard area outside, and they could expand into that. So great choice by MDK on the location of the event itself. And then when we went in Friday night, we had drink tickets for drinks. We had, like I said, there were a couple of food trucks. I would say, as a little critique, that was like the most disappointing thing, was the kind of, I think there were different food trucks and more food trucks on Saturday. I did not go out to eat out there then, but Friday night we were really kind of hungry, and I knew the food trucks were going to be there. And so I said, Mike, I got you a ticket, and we get free drinks, there'll be music, and they have food trucks. And so we were expecting kind of like a big selection of food trucks, like what we would have, I guess, kind of at an event here in San Diego. And there was a pizza truck, an empanada truck, and an ice cream truck that night. And so not a big choice on food, and it was okay. It was okay. I mean, there's where I think is some room for improvement. And I have truly, I mean, it was okay. So anyway, we wandered in, and I had the most fun thing, you could sign up in advance to make sure that you got an appointment, or you could sign up at the event. And they had a professional photographer, and her name was Gail. Let me get her last name here from the program, Gail Zucker. And she had a photo booth in the back corner of the event. And so I signed up for, the doors opened at 6. I signed up for a 6:15 appointment, and you could bring as many knits as you wanted, and you had 5 minutes, and she would do professional photography of you and your knits. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. So I ended up bringing 3 wraps, shawls, and did photography back in the corner, because I thought, I have nothing as far as professional photography of me to put up in the video for the podcast or on any of my social media platforms. And so it would be nice to have a couple of good pictures to use, since this has kind of been like let's start a podcast. Let's do this. And so I took advantage of it, and it was so much fun. People were going up with their besties and what they were wearing. They were posing. I mean, she would encourage you to be crazy, throw your hands in the air, jump, do whatever you wanted to do. And it was a great time. And we got some great shots. I don't have them yet, so I will hopefully put them in my next regular Spatially Challenged Knitter podcast, because they are going to be, she's going to go back and, Photoshop them, crop them, do whatever she needs to do to the pictures to make sure that everything's perfect, and then send them to us. So I'm expecting them this week, but it was so much fun. And looking at the pictures afterwards was just a crack up. So I highly recommend that other yarn festivals do this, because it was great. It's great if you go with your best friend, or you meet up with someone that you haven't seen there, and you're able to take a picture with them and get, a professional picture, and just kind of remember the moment. It was fun. So that was the first thing that we did. And then I said, what do you want to do? And Mike was a sport and said, this is your thing. I'm just going to follow along. You do what you want to do. So I decided I would start going through some of the vendors and kind of do it in an organized way, so that I could go back on Saturday, and if there was something I wanted to go back and look at and spend more time at, or just the main part of it, I would just start kind of going on the outside, and then go to the rest of the vendors the next day without Mike, so I could actually shop and take a look at things. So we wandered around the outside and got in line to get our drinks. And then the main speakers for Friday night were Arne, and I learned how to say his name. I've always said it Arnie and Carlos. Arne and Carlos. And we grabbed our drinks. They had started speaking. We went to the front. We ended up in the front row, having to walk in front of everybody in the middle of their speech. But it was great. I've watched some of their shows, and I knew that they were entertaining, but they were so entertaining. Mike was laughing. They were very good speakers, and they spoke for 30, 40 minutes. And it was just kind of their career, how they got into knitwear, things that they've done in their career, what they did when they were in fashion, and kind of like where they get their inspiration for their designs, and just kind of a general talk about kind of their history. And it was really interesting and entertaining. And then after that, I think we went out to do the food trucks. I did a little teeny bit more looking, very little shopping that night, mainly looking. And then we headed back to the hotel. And then and I really kind of was glad that we were able to do that, because the next day was an absolute horrendous weather day for much of the South. Listen to it rain. There were a lot of, there was horrendous torrential rain. And so it was great. As we lined up outside, we were undercover, thank goodness. You got out of your rideshare, ran to the entrance, and you were undercover while you were waiting in line. And because, I mean, it was pouring, it was coming down, and thunder and lightning. And then you got inside, and the whole event, except for the food trucks, was inside, which was great. And Saturday they had a great schedule of a mixture of, like I said, musicians and also vendors. Let's see. So we had a welcome. Doors opened at 10. I didn't get there until 11. Kay and Ann, the two women behind MDK, welcomed you, gave a speech. Says a visit with Hannah Tyson of Greater Cumberland Fiber Shed. Knit Companion was there again, and they gave a demonstration. Missy Rains and Friends, the flyingest bluegrass you will ever hear, was at 11, which is when I came in the door. They were playing. And then at noon, they had a great speaker, and her name was Laura Zander, and she started Jimmy Bean's Wool, and then she, and I think it's her husband, took over Madeline Tosh. They knew that Madeline Tosh was going to go out of business. They wanted to keep it in business, and so they did Madeline Tosh. But the cool thing was, and kind of the MDK connection was, Madeline Tosh has always been known for their superwash. I mean, they've been known for their great colors and the way they put colors together, but their blending of colors, but they've always been kind of known for the superwash, and they wanted to get into the non-superwash yarn market. And so they paired with MDK, and MDK has Atlas, and they took their Atlas yarn and filled in the holes in the color palette, and then made their colored yarns, their multicolored yarns, and patterned yarns to go with the colors that, the solids that MDK had in Atlas. So Laura talked about, there was one of the slides that she had up that said there's 19 touches to get from the yarn to the skein of yarn that you actually pick up. And so she showed kind of the process of how it gets, the machines that they use, who's doing the touching, who's doing the labeling, who's doing the sorting, who's the quality control person, who's doing the dyeing, it was just amazing. So it was interesting. It was interesting and gave you really a good appreciation for what it takes to dye yarn on the scale that they're dyeing yarn, to get Madeline Tosh yarn out there and to get this MDK Atlas project up and off the ground and start to get into the non-superwash yarns. And then they had a fashion show, which the fashion show, I will put time stamps in the description box. So I really encourage you to watch the fashion show. And the fashion show, the models go through twice. The first time the models just modeled, which they modeled. It was a great show. In New York, at Vogue Knitting, you have the professional models, and they're doing the professional model walk and the professional model stomp, and they're up on the catwalk. And this was not that, and it was great. It was funny. The ladies were really into it. The models were into it. So they went across first to model all of the knitwear, and then they came across the second time to talk about the actual name of the pattern, and I believe the colors that were used and the yarn that was used in the things that they were wearing. So that's how I'm going to end this podcast, is with the entire fashion show, because I filmed the whole thing. And we do have models walking across it because I was in the front row. And so I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you go through. If you don't want to watch all the modeling at first, fast forward through the fashion show till you get to the point where they're going across the second time. You can find out if you are interested in what the garment was made from, the yarn, the color, and the pattern. Then we had Dana Williams Johnson on confidence in knitting and knitting sweaters that fit. We had Amy Swanson of June Cashmere came and talked about, it reminded me of Mayak in a way, although it's, completely different because it's coming from a goat and not a yak, but same thing, where it's nomadic herders, and this is, they're getting they get the yarn, instead of shearing, they get the yarn from combing the cashmere goats. And so it's really interesting on, like the non-cruelty way of doing cashmere and the process, and why it takes so many. It takes, what did she say? 4 goats to get enough cashmere to knit 1 sweater. So that's why, and by combing, not by, completely shearing them. And so that's why it is what it is. Cashmere is more expensive. And then they had, let's see, Little Fox Yarn. Oh my God, Little Fox Yarnovers, her voice, oh, incredible. The two of them. Oh, it's for the only one I see. He is very, very extraordinary. He is even more than anyone that you adore, and love is all that I can give to you. Love
Mississippi, and I'm a librarian, and I am knitting a book snake because his tongue is out, and every stripe is a different genre, so you can keep track. It's your reading tracker for the year. And don't look at all my mistakes, but it's been a lot of fun. So you pick your colors, and we way too much suspense, so there's going to be a lot of green in it. So maybe this will make me read some more things this year. So check it out online. Not mine, but the person who came up with the book snake. And maybe you can have a reading snake too.
So it's like a temperature blanket, but it's for genres.
Yes. However you want to, pages, genres, the amount of books. You decide what you want and make it your book snake.
Thank you. Incredible musicians. And then Lauralee Beltman talked, and they had raffles throughout the day. Go Sadie was there, which, okay, I have to do a little commercial here for a couple of things. Go Sadie, I had no idea. I went to Vogue Knitting, but for some in New York, and they were there, and they were the sponsor of the raffle prizes there, but somehow I didn't get the whole picture. But I was able to listen to the talk about Go Sadie, and it's going to be revolutionary if it works when they launch it and it does what they say that it's going to do. It's going to be revolutionary. So she talked about, like, if you were a designer and you were going to put your patterns up for sale. So this is for the designers aspect of the platform. You would go to, let's say you sell your patterns on Ravelry, and then you sell them on your own website, your Instagram, and then you'll also sell them on Etsy. Well, you'd have to go to each one of those platforms and go through the rigmarole of getting your pattern uploaded into each one of those platforms. You've got to monitor each one of those platforms and deal with all of that. She said it takes hours and hours and hours to do the setup for each one of these things, because it's not one simple thing that everybody uses the same software and setup. Well, with Go Sadie, they would be, and she said, we are not trying to put Ravelry out of business. She says there's this rumor going around that we're going after Ravelry, and we are not trying to put Ravelry out of business. What we're doing is we're giving the designer the same ability to go to Ravelry to put their pattern up on their Instagram account, to sell on Etsy, but they go through our platform, and they only have to put it up once, and then it goes into all those different things. So it makes it a ton easier for the designer. Then she said, and so if you're not a designer, you're like, well, okay, what does this have to do with me? So you're a maker. You're the person that's sitting at home doing your knitting. Sorry for the little pause. I had somebody at the door that I had to let into the house. So what's in it for me as a maker? Well, she said, how many of you have bought patterns from different companies and from different places? Everybody's like raising their hand. She said, and how many of you have a Ravelry account? Raise their hand, okay. Well, what do you do with the pattern that you bought from Vogue Knitting? What do you do with the pattern that you bought from a yarn shop? What do you do with the pattern that you bought from an Etsy seller? Where do you keep all those? The digital versions of a pattern. This isn't like a book or something that, we've got a paper. What do you do with them? Do you download them? Do you put them all on paper? What if you're not going to make it? What if or it's going to sit in your queue for a while? Where do you store it? And I started thinking about it, and I go, well, let's see. I've got some in a desktop folder. I've got some in my drive. I've got some where I just save the email into crafts and hope to God I can still download it, when I get around to doing it. And she said, now, if you use our platform, you can access all of your patterns from all of these different places in one platform and store them in one platform. So my Ravelry, I'll be able to access my Ravelry account through GoSadie. I'll be able to access this Etsy seller that I just bought the pattern from. I'll be able to access Unling that I just bought a pattern from through the GoSadie platform. And they're all stored in the same place. It's like, oh, amazing. So if you haven't looked at this or signed up for this, you can sign up for free for this right now. It's called GoSadie, GoSadie, and I believe it's .com. And you can go and sign up for a free account. So when it launches and when it goes live, and I think it's going to be later on this year, you're in their system and you can be part of their system. Now, I'm assuming it's going to be like everything else, and they'll be like, you can do so much for free, and then if you want, there'll be different tiers or what. I don't know. I truly don't know all that information, but I encourage you, just honestly, even if I didn't ever do my Ravelry through it, just to get all the other patterns from the other places and put those in there, might be enough to, at the basic level or the free level or whatever they're going to have, would be something that's worthwhile. And you'll get the notice when they go live so that you'll know about it. And the other little, and I am not sponsored by anybody. So this is like as a knitter, I was like, yeah, this is great. So I get no money. I'm not sponsored. I have no sponsors. The other one was Knit Companion, again, because I had gone into it, was loving it, and then all of a sudden I couldn't get it to work again. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? So the Knit Companion guys were there, and I really do try to watch the tutorials, but sometimes it's like, well, okay, so I'm doing what you said, but it's still not working. It's nice to have somebody that's there to answer your questions. And so I had a guy who spent about 15 minutes with me, and in that 15 minutes, I was able to figure out, oh, this is what I'm doing wrong. This is what I need to do. This is what I need to look for. If it says this, then it's not ready to go yet. I have to do something else to get it to the point where I can get my color work chart to fill in the colors for me and number the squares for me. So like if I'm following the line on my color work chart, I can just sit there and read, 5 white, 3 greens, da. So anyway, I do pay for my subscription for Knit Companion. If you just use the free version, you can do a certain amount with Knit Companion. And I'm not he was showing someone, and I was listening to when he was explaining the difference between the free program and then the bells and whistles part, where you get all of the program that's available. All of the program that's available is $30 a year. And I'm in the middle of doing a color work yoke pattern, and making the chart easy to read and usable was worth the $30 just for the one sweater for the color work program. It's great also because you can see one line. If you don't like charts and you're a kind of person that would rather just read it, you can just read the one line that you're on. You can use a voice command so you don't have to take your hand off your knitting and say, back, forward, or, da-da-da-da. It's great. So I am going to try and do in one of the podcasts coming up, because I did get a couple of people that said, I've got it, but I still kind of can't figure it out. I thought, I would at least show you what I knew and how I had done something with it, just to kind of show people that it's not as hard. It's hard just because it's not intuitive. You need to figure things out. But once you do figure it out, you've got it, like anything else. So anyway, it was nice to have those companies there. The other thing that I thought was truly nice, and it was like, I'm one of those people that like, oh, okay, I really like this and I want to remember where I got it from. So let me get a card. And then I walk out and I've got all these bazillion cards. And then it's like, okay, which was the Isadora Popper yarn? And I have to go then dig through all my yarns and stuff to see what it was. Well, then it was like, duh, the people at MDK kind of thought this one through. And all of their vendors, they have their sponsors here, so thank you to the sponsors for them. But they also, every vendor had a little space in the program that had a QR code. So you can go and look and say, oh, I bought some of this yarn and I want to get another skein, or I want to get something to go with this yarn, or I really like this yarn and I'd like to reorder it. And I'm going to keep the program because all I got to do is look at my label on the yarn that I bought. And if I want to add something to it, I can click on the QR code. I don't have to keep these 5 trillion cards. So I thought that, I don't know if every yarn fest does that. And, this is not something they thought of. And I've never noticed it before because I really kind of don't look at the programs most of the time. I take one and like maybe look at the map. But being the Spatially Challenged Knitter, maps are not my friend. Really, they're not. And everybody that knows me is going like this right now because I will have a map in my hand and I will get lost. And Google Maps has been my friend if I can figure out which way the little arrow's going and which way I'm going. But it was so nice to just see all these little QR code things and know that I can go and buy more yarn, or buy yarn where I really wanted to buy something and they were sold out of some of the colors that I wanted, so I can go in and get something later. So I thought that was terrific. And, maybe this is like, oh, well, they do this with every single one that I've ever been to. The other nice thing that I really thought was, and I appreciated, because I was new and had never been to Nashville before, and this was, like I said, this was the first year for this festival. So it was super, super nice. They put together insider favorites to different places in Nashville. Where to go downtown, where to go in Germantown, where to go in East Nashville, 12 South Gulch, West End, Hillsborough Village. And then it says like large buildings full of stuff, and it gives you some museums and stuff. So it was really cute, and it was really clever that they put this in their program for people who were out of towners like we were. So it was nice. We had already kind of made our plans, but on Saturday when I went back to the Yarn Fest to shop and to listen to the speakers, Mike was out doing whiskey distilleries and stuff and going to different places, and so it was nice for him to have some information about where he could stop and get a quick bite to eat or something. So anyway, would I recommend going to Nash Yarn Fest? I had a great time. I really did. I would love to go back and spend more time in Nashville because I spent so much of my time there shopping that I didn't really get to see a ton in the city. So yes, I would definitely say if you've never been to Nashville and you'd like to go, yeah, it was a really cute, fun yarn festival. Is it huge? No, but it's nice. It's not, I would say it's kind of like a medium-ish size festival. Now, we weren't able to, there were supposed to be animals, and they were supposed to have, you could pet the animals, you could feed the animals. I think there was going to be some like demonstrations, like a shearing demonstration and stuff. Sorry, there's a garbage truck going by the front of our house. And so if you're hearing that. But because of the tornado warnings and the thunderstorms, they were not able to have any of the animals outside. So that part of the festival had to be canceled, and Mother Nature, you can't control. So anyway, that would be something to go back for, just to see that part of it. But yeah, I would recommend it. I think it was fun for a weekend. The other thing was that there was one class that was live during the weekend. I think there was some virtual classes that were set up as part of it before that weekend. But some people were able to get into a class with Arna and Carlos and take a knitting class from them. That would be the one thing that I would think would be the next step, would be that there'd be some more classes or some classes available, because that, had a limit, and that was the only class that was there. So it would be nice to be able to have some teachers and some classes associated with it. That would be fun, I think. But I do have some acquisitions, because of course I have some acquisitions. One of my absolute favorites was a t-shirt. And it's this cute little sheep. Let me see. And it says, "Lay flat to dry." And there he is laying on his back upside down. And I thought that was just super cute and fun to wear in the summer when it's too hot to wear knitwear, but you want to wear something. And also for Pilates. So that there were a lot of cute shirts that were there for sale. So that was one. And then in my regular, whoopsies, sorry, yarn caught under the tripod. In my regular podcast, you'll see one of the projects I'm working on is a blanket, and it is the Sweet Shop blanket. And for the Sweet Shop blanket, you need to have each square has your main color, and then like a mini skeins worth of a separate color, and it's made like a quilt block. And so I had an advent that I had been sent yarn, and it wasn't all yarn. It was from another. It wasn't just a yarn thing. It was also accessories. And so I didn't have enough mini skeins to finish the blanket, and I need to have the blanket finished in May for baby. So I was able to pick up some mini skeins that I'm going to be able to use with the ones that I already have, and be able to finish the Sweet Shop blanket. So that was a really great acquisition. And I was going to buy a pack, and then I was able to go around to different booths and just pick out a few from this booth, a few from this booth, and just randomly put some colors together that I knew would go with the colors that I already had. So that was one acquisition. And then, because I liked the colors of this one so much, I got a thing for socks, because socks, I mean, you can never have too much. I really did try to not get too much yarn, because I really am trying to be better this year about not buying so much yarn. I did splurge for Amy. I I keep saying I'm going to make her a cardigan with the yarn that I bought in Copenhagen, and I am. I really am. But I can't make it in these deadlines that I keep giving myself. I thought I would be able to make it for her birthday in May. Well, it's middle of March, and I've got a whole bunch of other stuff that I've got to get done before May, including 2 baby blankets. And if I want to stick on my knitting schedule for myself, and finish up the silly socks that I said I'd make for the family. So I don't have time to make this cardigan before May 24th. I just can't. So I can make her a cute little Sophie scarf, and it's in yellow, which is one of her favorite colors. It's this Isadora popper called Really Rosy. 42% baby alpaca, 8% merino, and 50% Pima cotton. And this, they said, makes actually 2 small Sophie scarves, or you can, one a little bit bigger, probably the shawl, Sophie shawl. But thought this was cute, got it for Amy because I can whip one of those up for her birthday, and she will get something hand knit that way, and her silly socks. This one, she was actually working on it in the booth, and we talked about assigned pooling. When I went to Knitting in the Hills in Austin, I bought a bunch of yarn from Dawn Barker, and she's kind of, I think, didn't invent assigned pooling, I don't know, but she's very much associated with assigned pooling. And I think she's done a lot of patterns. And I wanted to make 2 shawls, but I haven't wanted to take them on because a shawl and something brand new that I wasn't able to get into her classes were sold out in Knitting in the Hills. So I thought, well, but this was like enough to do another little kind of Sophie scarfish thing, but for summer, much lighter, and you could do assigned pooling. And the woman talked to me and showed me how she was doing her assigned pooling pattern by Dawn Barker. Is it Barker? I'm sorry, I'll put it up here. And she was making it out of this yarn. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a skein of that. I'm gonna try it on this, and then I'll be ready to make the 2 shawls that I have the yarn in my stash for, because that's a big commitment and I need to know that I can do that. And it kind of reminded me of the MCAL for Malabrigo with the little rosette things, and I wasn't able to do that. I still have to figure that out. So I wanted to give it a try, so I bought the 1 skein of the assigned pooling yarn. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I went by this booth called Forbidden Fiber Company. And they had, I love it when yarn companies have the yarn sitting there, but then they actually have swatches sitting next to the yarn. So you can see what it looks like knitted, you can see what it looks like crocheted. And they had come out with a Wicked collection. And so this is from the song Pink Goes with Green. And so I got one for me and one for Amy because we went to see the movie together and we saw the Broadway show together in Dallas when she was in college. And it's got sparkles in it. I don't know if the camera's picked, yeah, a little bit. You can see it's got sparkles in it. And this was just like the best yarn. I thought it was so cool. And I really wanted to get Popular. That was the song I looked for first, but I didn't like the yarn as much as I liked the Pink Goes with Green. So anyway, I got this to make us matching socks, and another one in DK that's also sparkly, same song, Pink Goes with Green. Just because I thought those are great, but I wouldn't mind a pair of DK socks too, just because my feet have been cold lately. And then this is for Amy for another pair at a later date. This is Defying Gravity. And same thing, sparkles. And it's like, oh, I want to make her more hand knit socks because she works as a nurse. She says her feet gets cold because the hospital's cold at night. And so I thought, well, hand knit socks are good presents then. And if you're having to wear scrubs every single day of your life, it would be nice to have fun socks. So anyway, that was my wicked purchase. And I do love, I will say, I have a weakness. I will get random yarn, but sock yarn, it's my weakness. You give me sock yarn and it's kind of one of those things. So the first night that I went, I was texting with my friends, Chris and Julie and Jen and people that you've seen if you've watched the podcast before. It's the Spatially Challenged Knitter and Friends, and they're the friends that usually end up showing up on here. And I was walking by a booth of bags, and I had sworn, that beyond like a little canvas souvenir bag or something, I was not going to buy any more bags. Oh my gosh. I sent them a picture of these bags and said, I know I'm never going to buy another bag, but, and they were all like, yes, it's super cute. So I got it. The next day I came back, walked in, saw the bags again. They were almost out of the orange, and this was the only orange felt she had. So she said, this is all I'm making of the orange. And I got it. And I loved it. And people all day long, oh, you got one of the sheep bags. They're so cute. So love it, love it, love it, love it. And it's just cute. It's just, I mean, it makes me smile, which is what a good bag should do. Make you smile. We're coming down to the end because, like I said, I was really trying to be good. Got another sock bundle. Just, I don't know, I'm into socks. Portable, easy to travel with, and been buying a lot of sock patterns. So I did get a couple of bigger purchases. This one is Miss Babs, and it says, inspired by nature. It is fingering weight, which I was very hesitant to do, but it's 65% cultivated silk, 35% bleached linen. And I thought, you know what? She goes, I said, oh, this is so pretty. And I wasn't touching it. And she goes, oh, come over here and touch the sample. Okay, so you know how deadly that is. It's like one thing to look at it, then it's another thing to touch it. And to touch this after it had been washed and blocked and worn, it was just incredible, incredibly soft, just drapey. So I bought this to make a summer t-shirt. It's enough to make something. We looked up summer t-shirt patterns, got enough to make it. And the color is damask, I think. Or the color is Oz. I don't know. Don't know. Maybe the yarn is damask. Yes, I think the yarn is damask and the color is Oz. Don't quote me. But you could go to Miss Babs' website. And they had a ton of great colors. I mean, it was hard picking one. And I almost got a blue, but I had gotten a purpley blue the first night. And I thought, and everything I have seems to be blue. So I wanted to get a little bit away from it. And so I got this green, thinking this is going to be a great t-shirt for summer. Okay. Next, kind of last. This is called Seduction Decay. And this one's actually, it says hand dyed in Northern Michigan. Miss Babs, she's there in Tennessee. That was the other thing. It was a ton of local or localish yarn dyers, which was really nice because I saw yarn that I had never seen before because it was around the area. Anyway, it's called Why Not Fibers, and it's their Seduction Decay. And it is made of, it's 273 yards, alpaca, silk, and linen. 50% alpaca, 25% silk, and 25% linen, which I thought is great for like fallish sweater around here. Great for a sweater for the evening around here in the summer. And the colorway is Inland Sea, and it's really kind of a purpley, bluey gray. It's got a lot of different tones in it, different colors in it. And I got enough, I got a sweater's quantity of it because I don't know what I'm gonna make, but it's pretty and I liked it. And it's super soft. It's like you wanna pet it. If you pet it, it's incredible. And then, oh, I had been seeing this Camilla Fiber Company, and they had, there's a shawl that I had wanted to make that was suggested on, I signed up for the MDK newsletter. I get you have snippets newsletter, and they had put up a scarfy, shawly kind of thing that used two colors, and it was in black and white, and I think it's mosaic knitting. And so I was kind of in a greeny mood. This is kind of a bluey green. It's called Evergreen, and this is Moonflower. And Camilla Fiber Company is based out of Nashville, Tennessee. So I had been wanting to look at their yarn because I had been seeing more people using their yarn. And it was nice to be able to see what they had. And I just wanted to make that scarf. So I bought the 2 skeins to make the scarf. And that is it, with the exception of this really pretty, it's in a little box. She boxed it up for me because I think I'm going to give one away for a gift. Someone I know is making a shawl. And these were shawl pins, but they were unlike any other shawl pin that I had ever seen before. And I would have never gone to the booth. I would have walked right by this pin if they didn't have a shawl pinned to a sweater that was right up in the front of the booth. And it like immediately drew your eye. And the one that was up in the front was this kind of brass one with the same little orange jewel on it. And it was pinned to the front of the thing like this. I'll just kind of go like this. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's not your regular shawl pin. It's something that's completely different. I've never seen anything like this before. The person that I know is making a really kind of a darker colored shawl. And I think that the silver would be just stunning on it. So I'm going to put it away, and it will be a surprise gift that I'm sure this person will never have watched the podcast and never seen it. But these are from Up Studio Jewelry and Accessories. And here's their information if you're interested. They did have a ton of necklaces and bracelets and I think earrings as well that were all made with this kind of lacy stuff in different shapes. And this one I got for me as well, because I think I'm keeping the brass one. But I liked this one because it's like, look, you could wear your Sophie scarf, which this is my onling scarf. You'll find out more about it in the next podcast. It's a finished object. But if you were wearing a Sophie scarf and you got one of those shorter ones that you just wanted to have in front like this and make it a little dressier, you could do this and put it around your Sophie scarf and have it be like going down the front of your outfit. I was like, oh, what a genius idea, because it's not this one. I mean, you could do it, but I like the long one on a scarf that would just go down the front like this. And so you've got a little bit, a little zhuzh on your outfit, or in the summer when you want a little zhuzh, but you don't want 20 layers around your neck, and you've got something that you've made in linen or something light, like that assigned pooling Sophie scarf. I thought this was like pretty cool. So I got, like I said, this and this for me, and the other one as a gift. So I will keep it in the box and keep it beautiful. And that's it. That's my acquisitions. And then as you went in on Friday night, they gave you a bag as you went into the event. So I have another Nash Yarn Fest bag. And I did get gifts for my knitting friends. I always try to bring them back something silly and something little, because Jen has a brand new baby and can't travel, and the other two are working right now and can't travel. And so I feel like I'm so lucky because I'm retired. Julie's retiring at the end of the year though, so I will have maybe a partner in crime to do some more traveling with in my knitting adventures next year. And anyway, it's just fun to bring them back something. And so I was able to get a couple of really cool things. So for Julie and Jen and myself, I had a little cowboy hat and a little cowboy boot. So we all have matching stitch stoppers now. And this is their souvenir from the Nash Yarn Fest. And then for Chris and Emily, our other stitch regulars, All Stitch has just come out with, they're the ones that have the flower power markers, and they've also got the little stars. Well, they just came out with a new thing of markers, and they are specially designed, that you can use them for knitting, but they're specially designed for crochet. They're a little bit bigger, thicker here, so you can use a thicker stitch marker, and they're removable. So they said, like as you're crocheting out and moving things, I guess crocheters use more removable markers than knitters, because for some reason, I don't know, I use light bulb markers, but I also use the ones that they need to lock for me, or I'm losing them all the time. But anyway, so they came out with these especially for crocheters to meet their yarn needs. So I got those for Chris and Emily. I thought those were cute. And they're brand new. Just came out with them this last little bit, they said. And then because I'm an MDK Society member, I got my copy of the field guide. So I haven't looked through it yet, but this is the newest field guide, which was Mosaic. And, ooh, wow. It's got some wrist warmers. A cowl, Mosaic cowl. mosaic sweater. That's interesting. Oh no, it's a waffle sweater. Amy Christophers. Huh. Like I said, I haven't looked through this yet, but we're able to pick up in person. And this is what the MDK, they work with one designer at a time, and they come out with these field guides, and the designer designs the patterns for the field guide. So this one is field guide number 29, designs by Amy Christophers. So anyway, that is it for acquisitions from the yarn show. You know, a couple stickers, randomy stuff. I think they did a great job for their first event. I think it's only going to grow and become more popular. And I think Nashville is a really fun city to go and visit. So I strongly suggest, if you're going to go in for the festival next year, which I'm sure this is going to be an annual event, give yourself an extra day or two so you have time to sightsee. And hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. It would really help me if you would like and subscribe, and then let you go with the fashion show. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Hold on. Are you ready? Here we go.
if those performances didn't convince you to knit these things, what is wrong with you? So first up, I'm going to move my microphone around. This is Nell.
Yay!
And, okay, right away Nell is out of order, so. Okay, Nell is in the Cactus Bloom cardigan, which is a Wear Forever V-neck. And this is by the Madeline Tosh design team, and you can find it on Ravelry.com. And you can also look at it in our lookbook. And it uses a whole bunch of skeins of atlas. And the shade is called Mars Rover. We'll tell you how many if you want to know. And we have accented this cardigan with Delacue's on-trend Maker's Mini Messenger in a smashing teal. There you go, that's Nell. Calm down now. Okay, take it easy now. We're back on the program. This is the Mesa Drift Shawl, again by the Madeline Tosh design team. They keep very busy over there. And it has like knitted garter stitch and eyelet edging. So if you want to come look at this sample and sort of examine it, it's very beautiful. And then the optional fringe, but why would you not do the fringe? Again, are you okay? And this shawl uses 4 skeins of atlas. Thank you. Samantha is rocking the sundown scarf. I would say if you want to try Mad Tosh plus Atlas, this would be a real good project for you. It's approachable yet intriguing. Much like Samantha herself. And Samantha is carrying the Delacue Maker's Canvas Tote in orange wax canvas accented in brown leather. And it's one of their larger statement bags. Thank you so much. Here comes Dana, and she's wearing, I did not know this. This was not just designed by the Madeline Tosh design team. It was designed by Laura Zander herself. And it's called Rodeo Ride, which is a very Laura Zander name. And it's an unfussy scarf. It's got a little lace, it meets denim, silk tops. It's a great casual scarf. And it is paired with the Delacue Mini Maker's Mini backpack. Just one like that. Just look at that. This one. And this is Jessica. You may notice a lot of MDK contributors because if you're going to write for us, you're also going to, do favors for us. And Jessica is wearing the Ladybird shawl, and it's in a beautiful color that everyone loves called Mermaids Unite. And she's on her arm. She has the Delacue Maker's Mesh Tote in Vivid Rose. And that was developed with the amazing crochet designer Tony Lipsy. Bravo! Now we have two versions of the Brazos bandana. See, when they walked up together, I thought that just one of you was shy and needed encouragement. But it's because you're both wearing the same pattern. That makes no sense to me now. So this is the French neckerchief of the West. It's called the Brazos bandana. It has, I think it's 2 different sizes, but it may just be, Anyway, bobble stitches add graphic interest, and it uses 2 skeins of atlas. Milkshake and Fire Opal are the 2 shades that our friends are wearing here.
Yeah, and that's like a really good 2-stainer, taps into that bandana and then comes in.
You gotta get the teeny weeny scarf.
Yeah.
Everybody has one, and if you don't have one, you gotta get one. Okay, here comes Ruth, and she's wearing the pecan or how do you say that in this country?
Pecan.
Pecan. The Pecan Valley cowl. And this is really cool because you can wear, you can make a coat warmer with
that's
this.
nice.
So you can put it down over your shoulders. And it's for confident beginning knitters. I guess that's all of us. All of us forever are confident beginners, right? It's work from the top down, and then it's split and work side to side.
I like the
And
split.
accompanying
It makes it so much
Pecan
better.
Valley on the runway is Della Q's tall mesh totes, which I think is one of their most
and
popular
so it's
bags
not a
because of
bunched
the
up in your
meshiness
coat.
of it. It's a light see-through bag that accommodates 10 skeins of yarn if you need to carry 10 skeins of yarn. I could fit at least 12 skeins of yarn in that. So that's a wonderful bag, and that's also Della Q. Thank you, Ruth. Next up, and this one, we have a special treat. The designer is wearing, this is Jen Daisley, and she's wearing her main squeeze pullover, which she originally designed in regular Atlas, and we just thought it needed to be in the Nash collab yarn. And the color,
It is
I'm going to
good.
find out right now. Is it really called Caretaker? Okay. This colorway is called Caretaker, and it looks really beautiful. And we love this sweatshirt because I don't know if you can really notice it in this yarn, but the sleeves are stockinette, and the body is this, sort of more textured stitch pattern. So it just, it's a very lovely design to wear as your everyday sweatshirt alternative. Thank you, Jen. And the bag, it's the Della Q's Maker's Canvas Rucksack, which is in a rich maroon, and it's perfect for people who like a smaller bag. Thank you, Jen. Here's Jen's bestie wearing the bestie hoodie. This is Erica. She's wearing the bestie hoodie. And you can see there's a lot of potential for color blocking here. So if you want to collect a few skeins, you can play with different colors. And this is a Tin Can Knits pattern. And one of the things we love about Tin Can Knits is that this pattern is sized from size newborn to 6X. So, if you want to win the baby shower, I would recommend this pattern. And also if you want to look cute like Erica. So thank you. The colors are you ready for the colors? Elizabeth Taylor, favorite pair, as in pair of jeans, Jade, Mansfield's Garden Party, whatever that color is, and Misfortune. So thank you, Erica. And here we have a wonderful beanie. It's called the Snow Globe hat. Stop making me laugh. It's the Snow Globe hat. This is also by Tin Can Knits. And you can also make it in a newborn size, but why would you do that? Because it's such a cute hat for a grown-up. And this is that rare thing. It's a cable hat, and it really looks good in a variegated yarn. And the pom-pom is optional, but all pom-poms are optional. I don't know if you realize that. And this requires, depending on the size, 1 to 2 skeins of Atlas and Bittersweet. So it's also a great, try it out kind of project. Next up is Stephanie wearing the Narutomaki vest by Deegan. And this has been a real hit, this pattern. It's a classic fit vest that's knitted in the round from the bottom up. And the vest is finished with a folded neckline for extra classiness. And this comes from, adult sizes extra small to 5X. And it requires, the two colors are regular, these are both collab colors, Deep and Wash House. So there you go. And finally, this is, what? This is the wedding gown of the collection, except it's a cowl. And this is from MBK Field Guide something 21 brioche. So this pattern is by the brioche queen Nancy Marchand, and it really it's a really good use of a beautiful variegated and a beautiful tonal yarn. So there you go. It's different sizes, so you need 1 to 3 skeins.
All right, models, this is it. Please take a bow.
Take a bow.
Yay!
Thank you for doing this, y'all. This has been really fun. This is how our fashion shows always are. So, if you're new to MBK, we like a raucous fashion show.
So thank you guys are amazing. All these yarns are over here behind where you're sitting at our booth at the MBK booth. So come by, we'll be over there talking about all of this amazing stuff. And thank you for coming. More to come. We're not done with our program yet. Thank you.
Yay!